Hello and welcome to our new short stories. I hope you enjoy this story. I'm going to try and upload a new story each day. The Screaming Sands of Shanklin. The Isle of Wight is known for its scenic beauty and tranquil charm, but Holly Arnold was no stranger to the sinister whispers that called through its history like tendrils of mist. An investigative journalist with a penchant for the macabre, Holly had come to Shanklin to explore a legend that had haunted the town for centuries, the Screaming Sands. Locals spoke in hushed tones about the sands along the beach that screamed at night, a phenomenon so chilling it had driven some to madness. Drawn by tales of disembodied voices and phantom cries, Holly arrived at Shanklin armed with her notebook, a flashlight, and a recorder. She rented a room at a small inn overlooking the beach and began her investigation immediately. Day 1, the first whisper. Holly spent her first day interviewing locals. Most dismissed her inquiries with nervous laughter, but an elderly fisherman named George relented after a pint of ale loosened his tongue. "If the sands weren't always like this," George said. "There was a time when they were just sands, but then, the storm came." Holly pressed. George nodded. Back in the 1700s, the village here was much smaller then. The storm didn't just bring winds and waves, it brought death, buried the old settlement under tons of sand and rubble. They say the villagers screamed as they were swallowed alive, and now. That night, Holly set up her recorder on the beach, her flashlight casting an eerie glow over the rippling sands. The wind howled, but it was not alone. At midnight, the first scream echoed through the darkness. It was not human, not animal, but something in between. Holly's blood ran cold as the sound ebbed and flowed, a cacophony of despair that seemed to rise from the earth itself. Day 2, the lost civilization. Determined to uncover the truth, Holly scoured historical records at the local library. She unearthed a forgotten chronicle describing a lost village near Shanklin. It spoke of a thriving community that had vanished overnight, buried under sands during a freak storm. The chronicle mentioned an artifact, a carved stone tablet rumored to be a warning from the village elder. The tablet was said to have been unearthed once before, but quickly reburied, as those who handled it suffered terrible fates. Holly's next stop was the Shanklin Historical Society. There, she found an aging curator who reluctantly showed her a photo of the tablet, its surface etched with strange, angular symbols. This was found decades ago during an excavation. The lead archaeologist went mad shortly after. He claimed he could hear voices coming from the tablet, warning him to leave it buried. Day 3. Holly returned to the beach that night, armed with a spade. Guided by whispers on the wind, she dug deep into the sands where the screams were loudest. Her flashlight flickered, and the air grew heavy as she unearthed a fragment of the tablet. As soon as her fingers touched the stone, a wave of anguish surged through her mind. Visions flooded her consciousness of village, its people frantic as a monstrous wave loomed overhead. The elder's voice echoed in her head, "We angered the gods, our hubris will bury us." The screams intensified, a chorus of agony that seemed to emanate from the very ground beneath her. Holly stumbled backward, the fragment slipping from her grasp. The sands began to shift, pulling her toward the pit she had dug. She clawed at the ground, her cry swallowed by the screaming sands. Day 4, revelation. Holly woke in her room, disoriented and drenched in sweat. The fragment lay on the desk beside her, its symbols glowing faintly. She realized the voices had quieted, replaced by a single, clear message, "Return us to peace." She knew what she had to do. At dawn, she took the fragment to the Shanklin cliffs and hurled it into the sea. As it sank beneath the waves, the winds calmed, and the beach fell silent for the first time in centuries. Epilogue. Holly's article, "The Screaming Sands of Shanklin, a Mystery Solved," brought her acclaim but left her haunted. The voices still lingered in her dreams, whispering gratitude and warnings. The sands no longer screamed, but Holly knew the Isle of Wight held secrets that would never rest. And she, ever the seeker of truth, was destined to uncover them one chilling tale at a time. The return of the screams. Months later, Holly received a letter postmarked from Shanklin. It contained no words, only a photograph of the beach at night. In the foreground lay a jagged piece of the tablet, half buried in the sands. Holly's heart raced as she turned the photo over and saw scrawled in an unsteady hand, its back. Unable to resist, Holly returned to Shanklin. The beach was eerily quiet when she arrived, the moon casting an otherworldly glow over the sands. As she stepped closer, the silence shattered not with screams, but with a low, resonant hum. The sound grew louder, a deep vibration that seemed to pulse through her very bones. The sands began to shift again, but this time they revealed something more. A network of tunnels and chambers emerged, glowing faintly with an unearthly light. Holly hesitated, but the pull of curiosity was irresistible. Armed with her flashlight and recorder, she descended into the labyrinth. The air inside was thick and cold, the walls etched with more of the strange symbols from the tablet. Whispers surrounded her, growing clearer with every step. There were voices, pleading, accusing, warning. At the heart of the labyrinth, she found a massive stone altar, its surface carved with intricate patterns. Above it floated a spectral figure, translucent and glowing. Its hollow eyes fixed on Holly, and it spoke, "You should not have come." The figure's voice was a blend of countless others, echoing and reverberating through the chamber. Holly's courage faltered, but she raised her recorder and asked, "Who are you?" The figure's form flickered, and it replied, "We are what remains. The storm did not bury us, it bound us, free us, or suffer our fate." Holly's mind raced. She realized the tablet had been a seal, meant to contain whatever force had cursed the village. Her act of throwing it into the sea had broken that seal, unleashing the trapped souls. "How?" she asked. The figure gestured to the altar. "Restore the seal, leave us to our torment." Holly hesitated. The thought of condemning these souls to eternal suffering was unbearable, but the alternative, letting their wrath loose upon the world, was unthinkable. Taking a deep breath, she placed her hands on the altar and began to trace the symbols. As she did, the whispers grew louder, turning into agonized wails. The chamber shook violently, but Holly pressed on. Finally, the altar glowed brightly, and the figure let out a final, ear-piercing scream before vanishing. The labyrinth collapsed around her, and she barely escaped, emerging onto the beach just as dawn broke. The sands were silent once more, but Holly knew the cost of her actions would weigh on her forever. Final note: Holly never returned to Shanklin. Her story became a sensation, but she avoided the fame it brought. The screaming sands were silent, but in her dreams, the whispers remained a constant reminder of the lives she had both saved and condemned. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please don't forget to like, and even better, like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and I hope you have had a great day.